Hey folks, Matt Masur from Clickstream Studios. Welcome to Good News York. This is a phenomenal day. We have an incredible guest. You notice that's not Mike. We actually have replaced him with a state senator. It's a wild thing. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, if you haven't noticed, we broke the news this weekend that Clickstream Studios, our parent company, is moving into the soon-to-be former Spaghetti Warehouse space downtown Syracuse. It's over 16,000 square feet that we are going to transform into one of the most unique content creation digital marketing spaces anywhere in the country. It's going to be right here. Good News York, this show, we're going to take that up to a new level. It's going to be live. It's going to be incredible. We'll be talking about that a lot between now and then, of course. So stay tuned for all of that and the cool opportunities that we're going to have with it. But without further ado, let's get to today. Enough of the future. As I mentioned, we have a very distinguished gentleman who was so gracious to join us and take a few minutes of our time. This is one of our local state senators, Mr. Chris Ryan. Welcome to Good News York.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Absolutely. So, Senator, if you don't mind, let's jump right in. So, if you wouldn't mind, let's talk a little bit about yourself and just sort of how you came to where you are today. So if you would just give us sort of the abbreviated version of what you did before you came to elected office.
Yes. So it's obviously my first year as a senator. Prior to that, I was on the county legislature for 13 years.
Wow.
County government. And before that, I was on the Gaddis Town Board for 6 years. So this is my 21st year
Wow.
in government service. I worked at Verizon, but I moved up the ranks through the union leaderships. At the end of my career there, I was the president of the communications workers.
Oh, wow.
Local 1123. We represent about 700 to 800 members in and around central New York. Mostly work at Verizon, but we have smaller contracts, a couple other ones, American Red Cross, and
I see.
negotiate contracts, collective bargaining agreements, make sure that the middle class worker is taken care of.
That's awesome.
And I think that that's sort of like with the union and kind of transcended into politics, I think at an
Sure.
early age, but also family coming from electeds. My uncle was on the county legislature for 30 plus years. He ran for state assembly, family's involved. My cousin was on the city council, just ran and won a spot in the county legislature. So kind of meshed together, and two plus decades later,
Wow.
here I am.
That's incredible. If you could, for folks, and unfortunately I find a lot of folks aren't necessarily familiar with some of these things, but could you just kind of in a nutshell explain a little bit of your role as a senator? What does the New York State Senate do for us?
Well, we make the budget. Well, it's a governor's budget, but then we adopt the budget.
Mm-hmm.
We make those changes, modifications, make the laws, policy and legislative branch for the state of New York. Us, the two houses, the Senate and the Assembly, pass bills. We have to make it the Senate bill and Assembly bill both have to be passed. Then it gets delivered to the governor's desk, and whether she makes amendments, signs, or vetoes, there you have it. So we're in session, for the most of the half of the year, and then afterwards, it's also working with legislation, working with constituent services out in the community, do a lot of out, in the community businesses and helping out and volunteering.
That's incredible. So something I've always been sort of interested in, because I don't think anybody ever takes the time to talk about it, but I always love the behind the scenes, how do things work a little bit. And I've always been interested. Obviously, you've been in public service for a long time, but like you said, this is your first year in this office. What happens when somebody gets elected to a new office? Like, is there we've all started new jobs, and there's the first day orientation and all these things. But when you come to elected office, is there anything like that? How do you learn the ropes, or even where to go in the Capitol buildings and such?
Well, the good news, I knew where to go in the Capitol building and the legislative office building because I was there doing years of lobbying on behalf of unions and middle class workers, right? So, but it's I don't know, it would be difficult, I being in government for 20 plus years, knowing it, county legislature, making laws, proposing laws, public hearings, Robert's rule, understanding how the intricacies work. I think it would be pretty overwhelming and pretty difficult. I mean, it's a big place. There's a lot of people, move a lot of legislation. So I would think it could be intimidating, but I was able to hit the ground running because of previous experience. But also And I'll also go back in my career. I've been the beneficiary. I've had good mentors
Yeah.
too, and I've always been able to pick up the phone and some of my predecessors, whether it be friends or unions or whoever they are, and shaping policy. But you got to have advocates, you got to have mentors,
Yeah.
you got to be able to call people for advice and listen too. You can't just
I like
yeah
hearing that.
yeah brokered opinions. Give multiple opinions and then take it. But if you think you're going in with all the answers, you're going to have a tough time.
I appreciate that you have that mindset of taking the input of so many different people. I think you're absolutely right. That's the key to success in anything, right? Um, what are some of the most positive stories? What are some? I know, like I said, there's all kinds of controversy and there's all kinds of things that folks want to focus on. At the same time, I know there's a lot of other really great positive things that are happening, things moving in a great direction in New York State. What are some of the first things that come to mind when I talk about those good things?
From a policy perspective and an Albany
Anything.
perspective, that's a lot. I could say a lot, but from an Albany perspective, I think we were able to bring home the Central York delegation itself. Like we was able to secure. I brought home about $1 billion
Wow.
for the district, whether it's $450 million for SUNY Upstate. We need a new emergency room and emergency department, which is helpful too. Also helping the county and also with the Micron, $116 million for the water that's going to be brought in with the wastewater, but a lot of economic development opportunities too. We were able to help the Manufacturers Association Central New York that do great work. School lunches, universal pre-K, those are impactful on families.
Yeah.
Trying to with striking out with the affordability, making sure that Central New Yorkers aren't getting hit in the pocket, right? So making things more affordable. School aid, foundation aid. So and really trying to access and impact access to healthcare, especially rural healthcare. That's something I've set out to do, and we're trying to help with some grant money for not educational systems, but also the healthcare system. So
That's great.
we're doing that, but and then there's also the opportunity to get out and meet a lot of people, municipalities, and help out, whether it's helping a volunteer fire department or something with funding, and also we also have to get we've been doing a lot in the community lately. Two good stories that I'll have. We were this past Saturday, I was up in Fulton at the Walmart, and there was a partnership with the Oswego County Sheriff's Department, Phoenix Fire Department, the mayor of the Village of Phoenix. We were able to, it's called Shop with a Hero.
Okay.
And go out, and everybody, so many people donated $325 gift cards. They would take children in need and kind of restores their. The good part about this job is you meet so many good people who are doing so many good things that you wouldn't hear otherwise, because they love to impact or just the negative impacts and controversy, but there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good things in this community, and I'm glad I'm a part of it.
Well, we love it. And honestly, that's one of the reasons that we love talking to elected officials like yourself, is because you get that exposure, in many cases better than most of us. You get invited to all the cool events and all the things happen. And that's why we love talking with you and these different things, and especially hearing about these different investments that you're bringing to our area. We've talked in the past with Senator May, and she's talked a little bit about some of the similar things. And it's just so great to hear that a lot of folks think that we're sort of forgotten in Albany, and to hear our representatives go, no, we're working in the state's investing in our area and things like that is wonderful.
I will say this, we do have a good partnership. Our Central New York delegation, myself and Senator May, it helps having members that are in the majority conference, but then also Senator Magrinelli's been there forever. He chairs the transportation committee. He's been there for a long time. He's a good mentor of mine. Assemblyman Sturpey's been there forever. Pam Hunter, and awesome. But also working across aisle too with, Assemblyman Will Barkley is also the minority leader for the Assembly, the Republican. We have a really, really good working relationship, working with him to impact lives and matters for Oswego County. It's been really good. We're working on the nuclear facility up there. That's kind of we're trying to push for that. That's going to mean thousands and thousands of jobs, hundreds of jobs afterwards it's built. But it's good. We have a really good delegation, Central delegation, and obviously without all that we're doing, it's impactful.
That's great. How do you find you interact with folks from other parts of the state. You know, one of the things that we love to do, the reason we call this show Good News York, is to really talk about the entire Empire State, including the city in all points. We really see those as valuable assets. How does that work in government when you do you have different partners, things like that, that are
Sure.
from downstate, and
Of course.
you learn from each other?
We do. And, you know, I may not always agree on every policy.
Sure.
That sometimes with the New York City delegation or downstate, but you know, I will say this: that every single member is really genuinely just a really good human being,
That's great.
and it's something I also wish the public knew how
Yeah.
really people cared about their community. We always going to agree to disagree. You know, also Staten Island and Long Island, the Long Island delegation. There's more. Couple Democrats out that way that are good, that I work in conjunction and collaboration with a lot of piece of legislation. Also a good senator from Staten Island and Brooklyn. We kind of work together on some things. So
That's
good.
great.
It's, you know, it's I learn from them.
That's great. Senator, I really appreciate this. I got a couple more questions, and I'll let you get back to it. I have to ask, of course, about the Micron project and,
Sure.
and just kind of your thoughts on the positive impact that might bring to us, and what we might need to consider and things like that. Not even necessarily just for our area, but in other parts of the state. Are they, first of all, are they telling this story in other parts of the state as much as we're talking about it here?
Yes, for sure. Everybody, well, you know, it's a topic of discussion. There's also taxing, but there's also a lot of needs too. We're
Yeah.
going to need people from all over the state. You're
Yeah.
talking in excess of 4,000 construction jobs.
Wow.
For many, many years, like perhaps even to build all fabs out,
Sure.
at least 10 years, more so than that. I mean, we're talking about people who can start a career, talking about people who end their careers working there. And
Yeah.
we're going to need them from all over the state. So it's also going to be, you know, impactful. But for here, I think one state study said there's going to be additional 40,000 jobs, whether it's going to be in transportation or hospitality, housing, talking about 20,000 new homes a year. But that's also for the region. Also, I'm doing a lot with the Oswego County, their chamber, their economic development teams, the local electeds up there, to make sure that there's readiness, make sure the utilities are going to be there. I mean, I'm talking, when I say utilities, I mean infrastructure. Whatever.
Yeah.
What happens when you flush the toilet? You know?
Right.
It has to happen. So I think those are, and then the long-lasting effects. But also, we also have to talk about not just site readiness, but making sure the next generation workforce is prepared for those
Yeah.
jobs there. What we did up at OCC with a semiconductor, we talked about transportation issues, so that these kids have the transportation they need to learn that trade or that skill set, then are able to get the jobs out there. I think it's going to be really, really good for the region.
That's great. I remember from the initial announcements when Micron was talking about here, from the very jump, they talked about transportation initiatives to make sure that folks in the city who might not have good transportation out to Clay would easily have that, and that wouldn't be a barrier for them getting the workforce, or for the folks that are already here that really need it. So I love hearing those sorts of things. We're all very excited. You know, everyone here in the business community couldn't be more excited, and I think more of just the workforce. The more they hear about it, the opportunities that are coming are, you know, it's not 40,000 fast food jobs. These are great careers.
I'll tell you a story. We were doing a tour. Went up to the Hannibal School District. My district was all the way up to Hannibal. And the superintendent, phenomenal people, by the way. That school board, superintendent, great people. And we were in the cafeteria, lunch, and these kids were leaving, and they were going through BOCES. They were doing a welding class, and the welding class was full. And my thing in talking to some of the people in the trades, we got to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that every kid who wants to become a welder, there's enough space and capacity for them to do that, or it's an electrician apprenticeship, or operating engineers, heavy equipment. Look at what's happening with 81, right? We're full. Iron workers. There's a huge need for iron workers. So we got to make sure that, number one, that there's the awareness. Number two, that we make sure that we're identifying those next generation workforce that is there for them, and also making sure we can deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say, as a union man, is it fair to say that the unions are driving a lot of that? I know I see at least the electrical unions are
Yes.
working hard to kind of recruit people into the trade. Do you find all the different unions are? We always think of them as representing existing workers, but it looks like they're also helping to kind of grow their trades as well. Is that true?
They've been really out in front of the traditional training centers because obviously with more people, you're going to need a bigger training center. But there's also some Empire State Development dollars that will help because they have to roll that out. Like they can't just say, okay, I'm going to put in millions and millions of dollars training center. But I think that's going to pay dividends. But yes, the trades and the Central and Northern New York Building Trades Association and the Teamsters have had job fairs. So they have, I mean, they're great partners and everything. I mean, they're going to have to be, we're going to need the people.
I've always been a big fan of unions, but I think that's just another one of those things that people don't necessarily realize. Like I said, I think they always think about it as after you've gotten the job, but they kind of lead the way on some of these, helping you find it to begin with, which is pretty cool. Senator, last question I will ask you. So as you mentioned earlier, you get to travel and you get to see a lot of these areas in ways that a lot of folks don't. So I would love you to share with us a couple of your top favorite things, whether it's an activity for a family or a couple on a date night. What are some hidden gems in our area that folks should check out for something fun to do?
Hidden gems. All right. I don't know, we do a lot of tours for businesses and fire departments and police departments. So that might not be a great date night to go to visit a police department, but, you know, driving around, we have, you know, great hospitality. You know, Oswego Chamber, the city of Oswego in the summertime is unbelievable. Maybe a good date night. I don't know. Go out and
there's no shortage of places to eat and drink there, right?
Get a chili dog at Rudy's and watch a sunset on Lake Ontario. I don't know.
See, that
counts like romantic.
I love
I'm not
that
a big
answer,
romantic.
to be completely honest with you. I think one of our biggest assets in New York State is just the beauty of nature. I'm a big fan of the Adirondacks ever since I was a Boy Scout, and just the Finger Lakes and everything. Oswego, you go out by the water. I think that's a great answer, to be completely honest with you. So I love that. I think that's wonderful. Last question I'll ask you.
And the fair. Don't forget the fair. Don't sleep on the fair. New York State Fairgrounds. You can go out and, you know, play the dart game and get a big dinosaur.
It is a huge, huge asset. Yeah, we love it. Senator, this has been phenomenal. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes. The last thing I'll just ask you is, just as we ask everybody, sort of your plugs. So if folks want to learn more about yourself, your policies, things like that, where's the best place that they can follow you?
Our website.
Yeah.
I think we have a Chris Ryan at nysenate.gov.
Perfect.
Or no, that's the email address.
The standard Senator website.
Standard website. Senator website. We're on social media.
Perfect.
Our communications. I'm going to give a shameless plug.
Yeah, please.
To my staff. I will say this, as I say it all the time, hands down, best staff in the business.
That's
our
awesome.
Communications. If not, make sure you sign up for our newsletter. Do a great job. You can making sure that you know where we're at. We're in a lot of places. We're here, there, we're everywhere. Whether it's giving toys away, Toys for Tots. We did Toys for Tots.
Wow.
This weekend, also right after the Shop with a Hero, over in the village of East Syracuse with the SU women's basketball team, East Syracuse Fire, awesome. Village of East Syracuse Fire Department. So yeah, and I think it's good because it also shows everything that we're doing also in the community, because it's not just the branded, you know, go up to home, make legislation and fight.
I love that. I love that. Senator Ryan, thank you for joining Good News York. Come back here anytime you got something good to share. We'd love to have it and talk about it. And thank you again.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely. And guys, that'll do it for this edition of Good News York. Stay tuned for all of the great news we got coming up. We got new episodes of GNY Sports. I think the Bills just won, so Mike might be a little extra happy. Well, no, I don't know. But follow all of that at Good News York. Sponsored by Ads on the Go. GetAdsOnTheGo.com is the website for that. And I guess that's it. Peace out.